Hello friends, welcome back to Quick Poetry Knowledge. This is your hostess Mehjabin. Today I'm going to explain John Keats' ballad La Belle Dame Sans Merci. The title of this poem is French. In English, this title means The Beautiful Lady Without Mercy. The central idea of this ballad is that beauty and our own illusions about it can deceive us. La Belle Dame Sans Merci was first published in 1820. It describes the encounter between a knight and a mysterious fairy-like beauty who ultimately abandons him. Oh, what can ail thee? That means, what can trouble you? This is the question that the speaker is raising. He can see a knight in front of him. The knight is in full armor, but the knight looks sad. And that is why the narrator is asking this question, that what is troubling you? You are alone and palely loitering. That means you are wandering around aimlessly and you do not seem to have any company. The sedge has withered from the lake. The weed growing by the lakeside, it has become dry and no birds sing. And I cannot see any birds singing in this area. This area itself looks remote, it looks desolate, and what are you doing here? This is the question that the narrator is raising. Oh, what can ail thee? What is troubling you? This is a repetition. Knight at arms, so haggard, that means you look so shabby, and so woebegone, that means you look so sad, so pale, so melancholic. The squirrel's granary is full. The squirrel has also collected its food, and the harvest done, and the harvest is also ready. So you should be happy that the food for animals and the food for human beings is ready. But despite this truth, you look sad. So what is the reason? I see a lily on thy brow. That means your forehead looks pale. It looks as white as a lily, with anguish moist and fever dew, and you look as though you are anxious, you look as though you are very sad, as though somebody has hurt you, and with anguish moist and fever dew, the sweat seems to have collected on your brow, and on thy cheeks a fading rose fast withereth too. That means your cheeks also look very pale, and the color from your cheeks has gone. So what is the reason? I met a lady in the meads. Now the knight gives a response. He gives a reply. He says that I met a lady in the meadows, full beautiful, a fairy's child. So she was a very beautiful lady. She looked like a fairy. She looked like the child of a fairy. Her hair was long, her foot was light. She walked very delicately, and she had long beautiful hair, and her eyes were wild. That means her eyes looked passionate. I made a garland for her head, and I made a flower garland for her as an ornament, and bracelets too, and I made bracelets for her as well, with flowers and fragrance zone, and I made a belt for her, and that also with flowers. She looked at me as she did love, and made sweet moan, and she looked at me as if she was in love with me, and made a sweet moan, and she tried to give me the impression that she was deeply in love with me, and she did that by moaning sweetly. I set her on my pacing steed, and I set her on my riding horse, on my horse which was continuously moving, and nothing else saw all day long. And the whole day I just looked at her. I did not look at anything else. I was so smitten by her beauty. For sidelong would she bend and sing a fairy song, because she would bend sideways and she would sing a fairy's song. And I listened to her singing, and I got smitten by her beauty. I got smitten by her voice, and continued to gaze at her for the entire day. She found me roots of relish sweet, and she found me good food. She found me delicious roots and honey wild, and she got wild honey for me, and manna dew. That means the dewdrops that fall from the sky, special celestial dewdrops. She got that for me to consume, and I consumed that. And sure in language strange, she said, I love thee true. And in a very strange kind of language, she told me that she was in love with me and that it was a genuine kind of feeling. She took me to her elfin grot, and after confessing her love for me, she took me to her elfin, fairy-like grot, means her cave, and there she wept and sighed full sore. And there she started weeping, she started crying and sighed full sore. That means she started sighing, and because of her tears and because of her sighs, I started believing that she was deeply in love with me. And there I shut her wild, wild eyes with kisses 4. And I shut her eyes with 4 kisses because I got attracted to her even more. And there she lulled me asleep, and in that cave, in that strange cave, she lulled me to sleep, and there I dreamed. And once I had fallen asleep, I started dreaming. Woo betide. That means, woo means it's a miserable time, and that is why the night he exclaimed his sadness. Woo betide. That means it's a time of misery. The latest dream I ever dreamt on the cold hillside, and it was a terrible dream, and it was also the latest dream that he dreamt on that cold hillside. I saw pale kings and princes too. Then the knight said, he continued to say, that in his dream he saw pale, sickly kings and princes who also looked pale and haggard, pale warriors, pale soldiers. He saw death pale were they all, and they looked as ill as death, as pale as death. And when they saw the knight, they started crying, they started shouting, they cried, La bella dame sans mercy, that is the beautiful lady without mercy, die hat in thrall. That means she has captured you and she has captivated you, and in other words, she seems to have destroyed you as well. I saw their starved lips in the gloom. Gloom means gloom. In the sadness, with horrid warning gaped wide, and I awoke and found me here on the cold hillside. And I saw their starved lips, so their ghostly lips. He saw their lips in the gloom, in that enveloping darkness, with horrid, that means with terrible warning gaped wide. And I awoke, and when he saw the terrible dream, he woke up, and when he woke up, he found himself on the cold hillside. And this is why I sojourn here, and that is the reason why you find me here. I sojourn here, that means I move around here. I am alone and palely loitering. I don't have any company. Though the sedge is withered from the lake and no birds sing. Although the sedge is gone from the lake and no birds sing. This is the reason why I am here, because I have just had a very frightening kind of dream, and in the dream I saw pale kings and warriors looking at me with ghostly eyes, and I get the impression that these pale kings and warriors and princes, they too must have been deceived, they too must have been harassed by this beautiful lady without mercy, and as a result they gave me the warning that this lady was about to harm me as well, that she has also tried to destroy me. And the reality of the harshness of the dream is keeping me in a state of trance. That is what the speaker is trying to convey. With that, I come to the end of this explanation. See you soon. Bye.